Today we're going to be taking a look at the trailer for the exciting new 2026 Masters of the Universe live-action movie. And we're going to be looking at it through the lens of how do the toys present? And specifically in this episode, we'll be focusing on places, playsets, and vehicles. Okay, first up, Castle Grayskull. Now, obviously, they're going to have to feature Castle Grayskull in the Masters of the Universe movie. Not only is it one of the most iconic playsets of that toy line, but arguably one of the most iconic playsets of all 80s toy lines. It's absolutely amazing. And I love in the trailer, you see lots of not only external shots, but also internal shots. You see the sorceress in there, you see the power sword, and you even see some like subterranean parts of Castle Grayskull. And longtime fans of the series will remember that even way back in the 80s and in the early 2000s Mike Young reboot, they showed underneath Castle Grayskull because that seemed to be the source of all of the power. Another blink and you miss it moment with Castle Grayskull and when He-Man is conjuring up the power is the Spirit of Grayskull. The Spirit of Grayskull was featured in really early mini comics and it was sold as a convention exclusive. I thought it was really cool that it was featured and I really appreciate Travis Knight's attention to detail like that. Now, when Mattel actually first released the Eternia playset, it wasn't really the Royal Palace of Eternos. It was the ultimate battleground. This is the Eternia playset, and it consists of 3 towers, hilarious traps, dreadful dungeons, and a super cool aerial tramway system. This is the Grayskull Tower, the center of all things heroic and good. This is the Viper Tower, the center of all things villainous and evil. And the Central Tower, a place of neutrality, becomes the ultimate battleground. He who controls the Central Tower will become Master of the Universe. And so the good guys and the bad guys would battle for control of the Central Tower. And they would use that tramway to go back and forth to help with their battle and their fighting. Now, I liked to use the Central Tower as the Royal Palace of Eternos because Mattel had never really produced a proper palace for the king and queen to live in. So it made sense to me that that's where they would live because in the cartoon, so much of the action took place in that setting. And so we needed that setting. Actually, kind of rarely were we in Grayskull too much. Now, if you look in the new trailer, it seems to me like they're incorporating some elements of the Eternia playset, or maybe even the Central Tower, or possibly even the tramway system into the design of the Eternian Palace. And that kind of excited me because I kind of always thought that. And then also, if you look really carefully, you can see that there's cat motifs all over the facade of the Eternia Palace in the movie. And there was always cat motifs in the Central Tower. Additionally, if you look really carefully off to the side of Castle Grayskull, you can see what seems to me to be the Grayskull Tower. So I'm excited to think that perhaps they are taking elements of the Eternia playset and using it as the Royal Palace and the surrounding area. One final note in that trailer, you can see after whatever battle has taken place either in the past when Prince Adam was a kid or who knows, only this summer will we find out, you can see that whatever that round structure is around the tower, maybe the tramway, maybe some other transportation system, it seems to be destroyed. Did Skeletor destroy it? We'll find out. And speaking of Skeletor, that brings us to Snake Mountain, the next big playset featured in the trailer. It was so awesome to see that being featured, including some sort of big fight scene between He-Man and the Skeletites, and maybe even He-Man and Skeletor's big face-off in what seemed to be the mouth of Snake Mountain. Now, I'm using the Viper Tower as my Snake Mountain prop instead of the actual Snake Mountain because I think it looks more cartoon accurate, and plus it gives me room on my table for the vehicles. So the one vehicle that was shown in the trailer is the Collector. The Collector. So this was a very awesome vehicle that Skeletor would use to fly around and rain terror on Eternia. And in the toy, you can put him in there in his little space throne with his monsters and his minions to fly him around. The other vehicle that's prominently featured in the trailer is the Roton, a very monstrous beast with terrifying little teeth wheels on it. There is another vehicle that they show briefly in the trailer, the Fright Flighter, I think is what it was called. I never had that as a kid, and it's not been re-released. So maybe they'll release it now for the new movie. Only time will tell. And then to counterbalance the evil vehicles, the trailer also showed the heroic vehicles. Now, there was one heroic vehicle that was prominently featured in the trailer where they come in, the good guys are coming in, and there's a platform that lowers down, and you see Adam and Cringer and Teela and Man-at-Arms come out. And I'm not really sure what vehicle that's supposed to be. So there's all kinds of speculation about that one. But one vehicle that's definitely shown is the Talon Fighter. The Talon Fighter was a mystical, magical, bird-like rocket ship that could travel through space and time. And the version of it in the trailer almost looks like the Netflix children's version that came out a few years ago. And I thought that design was really cool. So I'm glad that they're kind of hinting at that or using some of those design elements in the new movie. The other thing that's very hilarious about the scene of Adam and Teela in the Talon Fighter when they're flying, apparently maybe from Earth back to Eternia, is Adam featured in the rainbow background and his laughing face, which is paying homage to a meme that was popular several years ago of the laughing Prince Adam. The last place that we need to talk about, not necessarily a playset, would be the Earth. So there's obviously lots of scenes of Adam in Earth, and I don't think we're going to get an Earth playset, but one part of that scene that's absolutely hilarious and having the fans just busting is the toy store where Adam finds the sword. You see lots of barbarian sculptures. You see that big Viking barbarian that calls back to all the early sketchbook series of He-Man, and then you also see the Big Jim toys on the back of the toy shelf wall. And Big Jim was sort of the precursor of He-Man. Not sword and sorcery, but definitely like the big buff male superhero type and lots of toys that were used in that. The lions, tigers, and bears and the big falcon were all molds that they stole later from Masters of the Universe. And so, as we wait in eager anticipation for the movie to come out and all the merchandise that's going to go along with it, we can only speculate. Will there be vehicles and playsets to go along with the new toy line? Will we get a movie version of Castle Grayskull? Will we get a movie version of Snake Mountain? Will we get movie vehicles? We've already seen the Roton in the new movie version, so that's very cool. But will we get a Talon Fighter? Only time will tell. So stay with me for our next episode where we're going to take another look at the trailer and the toys that are featured in it, and we're going to focus specifically on the hilarity of the characters.